All right, chat. Thank you, everyone that is tuning in. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update of kind of what is going on. I am in the process of meeting with Greg and his friend. We are going to be discussing a whole lot today. I appreciate everyone's patience. 6:30, which is about 15 minutes, is the time that I have scheduled for this to kind of get up and going. I appreciate everyone that's in here. I'm going to be reading Twitch chat this whole time. If you are watching this live on YouTube, that's fine. I'm just only going to be actually monitoring the Twitch chat while we go because it's going to be a smaller audience and it will be easier for me to follow the chat and kind of like follow along. I appreciate you guys being here, and when this is all done, I'm probably going to make it private on YouTube, take the recording, at which point I will actually cut it down, edit it a little bit better for uploading to YouTube. So if you guys have any questions, I will be reading the chat over on twitch.tv/Reno May. And at this point, I am going to, let's just pop in here real quick. We're going to mess with my webcam. We're going to have to properties, deactivate, activate, done. Boom, I teleported and I changed. Let's turn on some lights here. Boom. We're going to pop that there. We're going to crank up the ISO so I can turn the light down. Just giving you guys a little way too much information, I guess. I can turn it down even more if I get the ISO that high. Boom. All right, here we are. We are live, folks. Yeah. Playing some COD while you wait. Nice. Yeah, so I will be streaming. This is streaming right now on YouTube and Twitch. But I will only be actually reading the Twitch chat just for the sake of ease of reading the chat, because I have a feeling YouTube is just going to be moving way too quickly. So if you want to have the conversation, you can pop over on Twitch, but we will be live on YouTube at the same time. I just want to make sure my audios are good, my audio levels are good and everything. We got the chat kind of, we're doing chilling here. Alert box is there, cool. Thank you everyone that's switching over from Twitch to YouTube, or from YouTube to Twitch. Just for your information, I'm going to be streaming here a lot more often. The last few videos that I have uploaded, I have been here on Twitch after. It's going to be something I do kind of a little bit more often. Hopefully my 3D printer finishes up what it's working on right now. But yeah, I appreciate everyone that's rolling in with the follows. That's much appreciated. When I do stream in the future, sometimes I stream just myself working out, which you might be able to see some previous streams of. The other day, I actually streamed me milling out in 80% lower. So if you want to watch that, you can. Thank you, Noble, for the sub at a tier 1. Thank you, Cypherlock, for the prime. I believe I also missed 2 other ones. Thank you, Mr. Salsa Man, for the prime, and thank you, Schleep, for the tier 1. I will get emotes figured out in the future. I don't really know how to do that. That's something we'll get it going hopefully soon. I kind of just hit affiliate. I didn't even mean to. Probably shouldn't have. Freak Nasty 88, thank you for the prime sub. Disturbed 420 euros, thank you for the prime sub. That's kind of, I wasn't expecting all this. Temtat Gaming, thank you for the prime sub. I appreciate it. I'm just happy to be here. This has been a conversation that a lot of people have been asking for. There has been a lot of information that was wrong. A lot of people, myself included, took the information that was given to us by the media and then accepted that as the truth. From Greg's point of view, a lot of things are different. It might not totally exonerate him from some of the criticisms a lot of you may have, but after hearing his point of view, it definitely changes the situation. Thank you, PMAC Attack, for the prime sub. Thank you, Bubba Jr. for the tier 1 sub. Thank you, Easy Shifty, for the prime sub. By the way, for those of you that are new here, if you have an Amazon Prime account and you connect it to your Twitch account, you can subscribe for free. Also, by the way, new merch should be hitting the store on shallnotcomply.com pretty soon. We're going to have these in black and then a light blue color. Yeah, subtrain is fucking moving, folks. I don't even know how that stuff works. Let's see. Okay, so he muted that. Cool. Let's see, alert, but I don't know if I can change that. But yeah, I'm just stoked to be here. So, baseline, what the hell is going on? Jeez, okay, easy shifty. Thank you for the 5 gifted. I appreciate that, man. You didn't have to do that. That's super cool of you. I appreciate it. Um, Remind me to add a command to merch. I think if you just type in merch on Twitch, it does it. Really, thank you guys for the support. So here's what we're going to be doing today. Here, let's lay it down. Greg Wong. Let's mute the alerts for just a second. kind of went a little crazy. Wasn't expecting that. So Greg Wong, he was assisting or attempting to assist his friend in the keeping of the peace in downtown LA. He was stopped by some National Guard folks and then arrested for being in possession of a variety of firearms and whatnot. Good intentions. Whether or not those intentions were the smartest thing to do, that's up for discussion, but a lot of the information that was floating around on the internet wasn't exactly accurate, so it got into an issue of there's a lot of bad information out there, and a lot of people have been asking me to get him on the channel and do a quick discussion with him, like, hey, what's going on? First of all, who are you? Who are you? What's going on? What's the real truth? Because apparently there's a lot of information that was being spread by the media that wasn't true at all. And then people like me, take that information and we kind of move forward with it. And some of it was wrong. So we're going to be clearing the air. Whether or not this changes your opinion about him, maybe not. But what it will do is provide you a different point of view than what we've had previously. So in a few minutes, I'm gonna go back to the intermission screen, at which point I'm gonna chat with the folks. Sorry, I just got a weird thing there. Got a weird notification with the stream chat. Okay. There's still a turbo account? What's a turbo account? So, but yeah, so in a few minutes, I'm actually going to be so in a few minutes, I'm going to be going back into the chatting room with Greg and some of his friends. At which point, we will continue that discussion. So just give me 1 second. Mic aux. All right. So just to let you guys know of what's kind of going on, I have two of Greg's friends in the waiting room over on our live chat that we're going to be doing. We're doing it through Zoom, and I'm still kind of learning the ropes as far as how all this stuff goes. I appreciate everyone that subscribed, by the way. Thank you, Jen. Thank you. I missed a few. Bubba JR. He gifted a sub. Holy shit. Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone that's supporting the stream. I appreciate that. Everyone that's on YouTube, just so you guys know, I'm only going to be reading Twitch chat just because there's going to be fewer people in there. We're going to get going in just a few minutes. I appreciate everyone's kind of putting up with the learning curve that we're getting going here. I got Greg's two buddies, and then I'm going to have Greg in the chat as well. We're going to be discussing his point of view of what kind of went down and give kind of more information about it. His buddies are there just to kind of back him up. These are the people that are kind of directly involved in various aspects of the claims that he is making, countering some of the claims that have been going around online. So, you know, we're just going to kind of have a conversation about it. This is something that a lot of people have kind of asked about, and I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful that everyone was interested enough in me doing this. So hopefully this provides some sort of value to you guys. Jay, you know, I'm sorry. 6:30 is around the time we're gonna get going. But yeah, we're gonna have this conversation. This will be uploaded at a later date on YouTube. But I'm gonna have to download it, cut it down to a much more like palatable version, and then we'll have it up there probably in a few days, maybe next week. But I appreciate everyone that is stopping by. Who's your worm guy? Someone asked. Needs backup on an internet chat. Thank you, Retro Electro 88 for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate that, man. You guys don't need to spend money. If you have a Twitch Prime, or if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link that to your Twitch if you want to sub that way. I'm just appreciating that everyone's here. What's all this talk about worms? I don't know. People in the Twitch chat are talking about worms right now. I'm going to text Greg real quick, make sure that he's all ready to go. But yeah, so if you guys have questions that you want me to ask, make sure you're in the Twitch chat and kind of having that discussion there. I have a lot of questions that I'm planning on asking that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. A lot of the questions that people have been asking, like, first of all, like, what was he thinking, that kind of thing. You guys will be able to ask questions, and if it's a question that I haven't already planned on asking, I will try to ask that as well. So there will be a point in time where you guys will be able to do your Q&A portion. So I know that's something that a lot of people wanted to do. That's why we're doing it in the format of a live stream, as opposed to doing it in the format of like just a video, because I wanted to have people's ability to kind of like have these conversations. Can I ask Greg if he's a lawyer and giving legal advice? I can ask him, but I'm sure that the answer is going to be that he is not a lawyer and that he's not giving legal advice like myself. New merch, by the way, should be in the store pretty soon. Okay, just to let everyone know, I'm going to hop back into our Zoom call real quick, just for like 1 minute, and then we're going to jump right into the actual discussion portion. So yeah, don't twitch and drive. Twitching and driving is bad. Okay, I agree. Okay, so I will be right back. We're going to be gone for like a minute or two. I'm going to talk to Greg and his two buddies, at which point we're going to hop into the Zoom call on stream, and we'll be asking a lot of people's questions. Okay. Back soon. So yeah, you can point. I can point heavily at these guns, but since I'm also streaming on YouTube, I cannot touch them. I can make a video every single day, picking up a gun and handling it, upload that, totally fine. But if I even for a second thought about touching it on a YouTube stream, I'd get in trouble. So without further ado, everyone, hello. I am speaking with Greg right here. I'm just kind of waving my mouse around. Joseph and Cameron. Greg is the one that you guys probably are a little bit more interested. Sorry, Cameron. Sorry, Joseph. But Cameron and Joseph do have a piece of insight to the kind of situation that I think a lot of you would find value in. So we got him along. Greg, I think the biggest thing that a lot of people want to know is, what's up? Who are you? Give us a little bit about your background, some of the stuff you've done, that kind of thing.
Sure. Let's see. Trying to compress all 20 years. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm an immigrant to the country. I was an adopted twin, raised in San Francisco Bay Area. Kind of fast forwarding, joined the Army. Was in the Army from 2008 to 2014, active. And then I was in the reserve ever since, and then the IR after that.
Nice.
Was in the 82nd Airborne Division, 78th Signal Battalion, and 112th Signal Battalion, which is, it just to clarify, it's basically all the nerds over at USCCA. It's Signal Battalion, the Airborne Signal Battalion for USCCA. It's part of 1st Special Forces Command. But yeah, and then I got out and then joined the reserve component. There's a reserve center. I mean, like literally everybody's there. The Marines there, the National Guard's there, all the reserve components are there. At a Bell, which is right by downtown LA. So it was a 349th Cash, the medical unit that was there. Did that for a while, and then after I got out of the military, got into everything from airsoft guns, filmmaking, tech advising. I mean, LA was the place to do it all. So kind of got my hands into everything from video games, television, and film, on top of doing the regular gun industry stuff. So that's kind of what I became known for, and just through doing those things. Like Joe, I met through airsoft. Cameron, I met working on Christopher Nolan's movie like last year. No, was it last year? Yeah, it was last year.
And it was last November.
Say again?
He said it was last November.
Okay, it was last November. That was a good time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've just been doing stuff in the gun industry ever since. Guns are a big passion of mine. Just even though I was immigrant to the country, I was very Americanized right from the get-go, and just had fairly conservative parents. So just from growing up and being in the military, it's like just became very, I always loved firearms and had a big respect for them and whatnot. So that's kind of how I came into it. But airsoft did play a big role, because it's like California, you can't unless, and it's a lot easier just to grab an airsoft gun, go match and stuff, and burn some stuff. Even when I was stationed at Bragg, like a bunch of the infantry guys would just grab me and we'd just go play airsoft at some of the local fields and stuff. So I just kind of kept doing that consistently. And ironically, it's airsoft that really got me more into the gun industry than the real gun side did.
That's funny. Yeah, I know a lot of times when I saw the discussions about, like what's going on with your whole situation, it was a lot of stuff that I would see like in airsoft, like communities, like a YouTuber in the airsoft scene talking about it, or, it just seems like a lot of people in that community really know who you are. And it's kind of cool that it's like there's a lot of overlap. And I think...
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's overlap because airsoft and real guns, they're not, I mean, they're different but similar. All they are just different chunks of the same pie. Like, there's the whole gun community, right? Airsoft is just a sliver of the pie. So there's crossover when there really should be more crossover, because, like I said, they're really part of the same community to an extent. So...
I mean, it's hard to get that interested in airsoft gear and chest rigs and red dots and all that stuff without also liking real guns.
No, yeah, I mean, like, and that's why the line between video games, airsoft, and guns is becoming more and more and more. I mean, most of nowadays, to get good gear in airsoft, most of it's made by real manufacturers, or you're buying real gear for airsoft. So it's like, even some people say airsoft gear or military gear. Well, it's like you go to the Philippines and the Philippine Army is using Philippine military gear, which by our standards is airsoft gear. So it's like what's really real gear, what's not anymore. It's really more how you're using it, to be honest, and how well it's made.
Yeah.
But there's real gear that is shitty where there's airsoft gear that's actually made better. So it's like, gear's just gear.
And so you said you've worked on a few movies. I know you did some stuff with the like Jurassic Park film, like the fan film.
That was a fan film that I put together. Had Grant Exodus, Travis Haley, and a bunch of other actors from LA involved in that. And that was a passion project. That was cool because that was kind of me blending in multiple worlds, multiple communities. You had people from the real gun side, you had people from the filmmaking side, and you had people from the airsoft side. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, the airsofters are the one that made that happen. Airsofters helped out with location scouting, airsofters with background, airsofters helped fund the project. I mean, and also a lot of the props too.
Yeah.
Because filming in Hawaii, it's like you got to use airsoft stuff for that stuff. So like, legitimate airsoft was probably 2/3 of the backing of that.
That's cool.
Not just fiscally, but in logistics and support and manpower. And like, I mean, because a lot of these people are the same people. A lot of these airsofters are also military guys. A lot of these airsofters are also real gun owners. So like, there's a lot of crossover because a lot of these people are really just the same people with multiple hobbies.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So yeah, we got a good idea for who you are. We kind of squashed the beef of some people saying, "Oh, like, is he like actually in the military?" It's pretty goddamn clear you were in the military.
It's you know what it is. It's just because I look so young. Like,
yeah,
I look back like, man, when I joined the military when I was 19, I must have looked like I was 14 years old. Because a lot of people I'm like 20 or 25 now, but I'm like 22. So that's probably why I just look really young.
Hey, in 20 years you're going to be enjoying looking like you're 25. So
hopefully still.
Yeah. So we got that out of the way. A lot of good information about where you kind of came from and your kind of claim to fame. Super cool that you've worked on a few movies. I think Cameron was saying that you guys worked on Tenet together. That's pretty cool. I think a lot of people in the gun industry are really stoked about that one. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I will in the future. It seems like a lot of people really liked it.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun to make.
Yeah. So I guess at this point we can kind of, there's a lot of information that from our conversations with each other isn't accurate, or a lot of misinformation going out there about the happenings of your fateful day, I guess. I don't know how else to say, which I think is pretty interesting because some of the claims as far as what happened are pretty wild to be wrong. So I think a lot of people would love to kind of hear your breakdown of events, and then we can kind of, I guess, ask some questions. And then I know Joseph and Cameron, if you guys want to chime in at any point of like, hey, here's like, backing him up, saying like, here's what was said, because a bunch of people making claims about just, there's a lot of claims going around, and I would love to hear what happened.
Real quick, did you want them to jump in and introduce themselves first?
Oh, yes. Totally forgot about that. Sorry, guys. You guys are muted, by the way. So if Joseph or Cameron, whichever one of you guys want to go first, kind of give some information.
Yeah, I don't mind going first here. First of all, thanks for having me, Reno.
Yeah.
My name is Cameron Pfaff. I'm a former Army Ranger out of 2nd Ranger Battalion. Was there for about 4 years, got out and joined the California National Guard, where I'm currently in the reconnaissance section as a squad leader. Like stated before, I met Greg while working on Tenet. That was a super fun project, and ever since there, we kept in contact. And then also, I am the owner of Kick Out Apparel. It's a apparel brand that's kind of inspired from military themes and combining street fashion. So keep a lookout for that, because it's going to be huge one day. I guarantee it.
Hey, feel free to drop a link in the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat while we're at it. While you're
This is one of our tees right here. So if you like metal music, cool. Snag it.
I saw someone comment about it. But yeah, cool.
But yeah, that's pretty much my story. Nothing to it. Let's hear from Joseph.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm Joseph. Just a civilian. You guys are more accomplished than I am on that end. I'm the jeweler.
I am.
I'm the jeweler that Greg came to assist, or tried to assist that night.
Cool. So just to give you guys like an idea of why they're here, Cameron, obviously, Joseph, you were there the night of the whole incident. That was in communication with Greg. Cameron was there. I believe you were. What specifically were you doing there, Cameron? I don't want to say it wrong. I don't know anything military related, so I don't want to.
So I was activated for the LA riots. So National Guard occupied downtown LA at that time to combat the looting that was happening at nighttime. So we just became an occupying force. Since me and Greg were buddies, he was asking me about what's going on. I was giving him sit reps, what was happening, because he lived close by. But I was in communication with Greg as well. So we kind of were just talking back and forth. And that was pretty much my involvement with him during that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know how to describe anything that the military does, so I didn't want to like say he was doing something and use the wrong verb or noun, and then it, turns into a whole thing. So cool. So we got your guys' background. Now, Greg, if you want to take it away, I guess kind of, I think a timeline, not necessarily a timeline, and I know that there's probably certain things, and we can discuss, the fact that there was a lot of stuff that was brought up in the media that was proven to be incorrect. So if there's certain things that you miss on, we'll get back to it.
I'll give you a really quick rundown of like more or less what happened, and then we can kind of go into the meat and potatoes. But and as we go along, we can add context to certain things. So I guess I can kind of go over that too. But so I'll just add context in the beginning. Anyway. So it's like like guys like Cameron, myself, and Joseph. We've lived in LA for a while, and even Joseph is experiencing a lot of it firsthand because he works in downtown LA. Like the crime's already getting pretty bad, but yeah, it was kind of a wild week and especially a wild night because I think that was the same day or two where Santa Monica had just gotten sacked pretty hardcore. And it's like, as long as I've been in LA, that's never happened. And like, I don't know, I think there's a lot of things around that because I guess the only real precedent before that was probably the LA riots. So there's a couple of factors going on there. It's like you had a lot of this violence, a lot of this robbery, theft, vandalism, and stuff going on. Like me personally, I'm a principle-based guy, right? Like I personally, I don't like going to protests. I'm not a big fan of participating in protests because what happens at protests is you have people with opposing views, they argue, and then the argue escalates to a fight. I don't like to be involved in that at all. It's already bad enough online. So it's like, why would I want to be involved in that in person, right? So I don't go down to those protests or anything like that. That's not what I'm about. What I am about is standing up for people who can't defend themselves or standing up for people who really need help. Like, business owners who have nothing to do with any of these riots, any of these protests. They just want to live their lives. They just want to have their business. They don't want to be vandalized. They don't want to be robbed. I'm like that's my principle. I mean, even with this really recent kind of chain of events, like I know Joe and the guys were talking about it earlier before I jumped on, about like all the Asians getting attacked, like elderly Asian people like that. Like that affects me a lot. I've got like 7-year-old mother. Like, what if she was walking down the street and some thug comes up, pushes her, and she gets killed? It's like the only people more defenseless than these people are like literally infants, really. It's like, and almost everyone in between that middle age gap can kind of defend themselves to an extent, but elderly people are like, really,
and that's something that we've seen a lot, especially in San Francisco and LA. And I was talking to them, whether it's happening more or if it's being more publicized, it's probably a little bit of both.
Both. There's always a little bit of truth and reading in between the lines there, but it's a little of both. And of course, like seeing with the LA riots, like Asian businesses get targeted. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Asian businesses do well, but
I had a few of my subscribers that reached out to me over Instagram or various other social medias that they happen to be Asian business owners in LA. One of them got vandalized twice. So they got vandalized in the initial wave of riots, get all cleaned up, patched up. 2 months later, happens again. So there's a lot of people caught in the crossfire of all this stuff. So I think that's something that you were kind of mentioning we saw a lot of during that period of time. So a lot of people feel like you want to do something.
It's what gets me is that these people are literally putting their lives into this thing, and like people using the insurance like argument is just it boggles my mind because that's not about principle. The principle is these people are just trying to live their lives, and someone's coming in and just trying to ruin it just because they're mad at something else. And obviously, like, Asian businesses have been targeted in the past. You know, you have the whole LA riots thing. So things were getting kind of squirrely. I mean, it's like if cop cars are getting lit on fire and covered in graffiti, then what perception does that give you of how they're going to protect you when shit goes down? Because let's face it, Los Angeles, one of the highest population centers in the country, barely really gets by when things are going well.
Yeah.
So you add a pandemic, or even worse, if the San Andreas fault breaks and that place gets cracked, or someone shuts off the power grid in LA, it'll make what currently has happened, or even LA riots, look like a joke. So it's like things were already getting kind of squirrely. So a lot of it too is like maybe the media's kind of boosting that up a little bit too, and I'm pretty sure that's part of it as well. But for me, it's like I hate seeing innocent people getting taken advantage. Businesses, whether it's a business or whether it's an elderly person walking down the street, that is my principle. Like, I don't like standing for that. So I was in communication with Cameron, because he's in the guards. I'm like, what the hell's going on? They're like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm just curious what's going on the military side. But I've talked to Joe, because Joe's helped me out in the past. We've helped each other out in the past, both part of the airsoft community. But he's also, like, in downtown LA. He's the only business owner that I know that's out there. I don't know anybody in Koreatown, but they're practically right next door to each other. That whole area. And it's not like there's not a precedent for it. We saw what happened during the LA riots, and that's kind of why the rooftop Korean thing is a thing. It kind of just birthed itself.
So you're seeing. Sorry, go ahead.
My dad was a rooftop Korean.
Oh, your dad was a rooftop Korean too?
Yeah.
Dude, that's badass.
He's OG, bro.
That's funny. So you see what's going on, and you feel personally affected by it because being involved in the Asian community and just seeing everything that's going on.
Well, there's a few factors, right? There's the military side of me. I mean, there was a couple different factors, right? There's the military side of me that's firing. There's the Asian Americans, because to me, as a gun owner, and especially an Asian American gun owner, I will not stand to see Asian American businesses be destroyed when we've already had a precedent. It's like, we already know what happens or what potentially could happen. So why would we let it happen again? Especially as Asian Americans and Asian American gun owners. It's like, why would we not stand out for our brothers over there or sisters, whoever? It's like, we're all we got. And if the police aren't going to come help you, then you better damn go help your friends.
Yeah.
Like, if they can't manage the situation, then you better be damn well be ready to help your buddies. And I'd rather be in trouble for sticking to my principles than abandoning my friends or abandoning my principles and being perfectly safe. Because I mean, you never know. Like, one day, just carrying a gun is risk into itself. Like, if there's an active shooter situation, you go in, wherever you go, there's a risk that they could think you're the shooter and the cops could kill you. So just anybody who carries a gun, doesn't matter what situation it is, there's always going to be risk. So I played the gamble that night. Didn't win, but you know what? Nothing happened. I mean, it was honestly pretty anticlimactic, to be honest.
So let's see. So timeline of events that we've got so far. Yeah, you're seeing kind of like the build up going over weeks, days.
Go up. I mean, there's a couple I remember there was a couple high speed chases because some of those guys. I think some of the guys from the high speed chase were in the same detention center that I was in at night.
So then at that point, you're getting in contact with Cameron, asking him from his side what's going on, and you're asking Joe, how are you doing?
So how those guys are doing. And it's like, I could tell those guys are bored out of their mind. No one really wants to be out there. I'm pretty sure you didn't want to be out there, right, Cameron? Like, no one.
Hell no, man. I did not want to be in the mix. The National Guard played such a redheaded stepchild role in that LA riot scenario. It was like we were obviously being targeted by the rioters, but we weren't directly, doing everything the LAPD was doing. So like we were just in the middle between it all. And our main priority was not to keep the protest happening. It was to keep the city from being destroyed. So that was our main objective there. And that's why we spread so far. But yeah, me and Greg were talking back and forth, and it was so boring out there. We were doing 12-hour shifts on and off So we would do our 12 hours through the night or through the day, come back to the Staples Center, get some shut-eye, refit, go back out. And yeah, basically Greg was talking to me throughout that time. He's like, hey, do you guys need anything? Do you need me to bring you guys anything? And not to mention LA was still, public at the time. Nothing was shut down. You can still walk on the street. So Greg was going to say, come say what up to us. And I was like, dude, that's probably the most action I'm going to see tonight. Hell yeah, all for it. That's a morale booster to see your buddy out there.
I mean, so going back to what I was saying, that's like the military side, right? I think anyone who's been in the military, even if they hated it, at some point kind of misses the military a little bit. And then, I could tell that he was like bored and like, I want some morale boosters. I basically just wanted to go see it. Earlier in the day, I was also talking to Joe because like there was legitimate concern. Joe, I remember you sent me the screenshots and some of the messages, but if I'm correct, you said the mayor's office had contacted you also because your jewelry store was essentially getting there was basically they had gotten some potential threats in the area that places were going to get looted or destroyed. And I mean that's why law enforcement are in the area, correct?
Yeah, the owner of the building basically is in contact with the mayor's office, and through the grapevine, they basically told us that there was talk of hitting our location that day. So I reached out to the security guards that I always talk to because I'm always just kind of like I like to be self-aware of my surroundings and of what's going on so I can better prepare because I have to protect not just myself, but I work with my family. My parents are there and I'm the only one protecting them. The security guards have their hands behind their backs and they can only do so much, but pretty much all the tenants are left to their own devices. So I reached out to them and they basically told me they had like maybe 3 or 4 guys watching 3 buildings, And I was like, this is one of the most economically important areas of downtown LA, and there's only 3 to 4 guards watching 3 buildings. That's a lot of area to cover.
Yeah.
So
even if they could do the things that they need to do.
Exactly. And so a couple of us, the younger guys, myself and like a few other people, literally there was only like 4 or 5 of us, volunteered. Keep in mind, there's hundreds of tenants in these buildings, like upstairs, downstairs. And of all those people, only like 4 of us decided to stay and help out. So I felt very underpowered. Yeah, undermanned, to say the least. So I reached out to a few people, and Greg was one of the people that I reached out to, and I gave updates on the situation. And if I needed to call them, if things got really bad, then I had that in my cards to have them come help me. And there were signs. I wasn't just doing it out of my own fear. There were signs and things that were happening throughout the day that made me seriously concerned about, our safety and like how things were going to progress throughout the night,
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that actually did occur, it was quiet for most of the morning, around 2-ish, I would say, when I started talking to Greg a little bit more. We noticed that there was 2 individuals across the street, fully covered as usual. They were talking on their phones, taking pictures throughout the day. There was guys like on their bikes just driving around like this, right up, like they taking pictures of us. They would stop and literally like stand right in front of us and take a picture of us because we were guarding the store, and they were just doing their own reconnaissance, I guess. And after we saw those guys talking, we watched them for a little bit. Like 40 minutes later, I swear, like the street was clear, and then all we see are rows of cars parking on 7th Street, just back to back of each other, right outside our store. So these guys were just getting ready to like break, enter, and then take whatever they can and just load up and head out.
Like a mass smash and grab kind of thing.
Yeah, it was so obvious. Like, and then every single one of them came out of the car at the same time. And it was just so funny. We're watching them and we're like, you guys can't make it more obvious that you're going to try to hit our store,
Yeah.
So we decided to go out and show force, So we took our rifles, shotguns, whatever. We stepped outside, and we just kind of let those 2 guys coordinating know that we were there. They saw us, and the first thing they did was take off their mask. I still remember this. Like, it's crazy. They looked at us, they took off their mask, looked at us like this, said something, talked for a little bit, and then they took off. As
Damn.
soon as they took off, those guys in the cars all disappeared.
Wow.
Yeah. It was so tense. It was so tense because like there was, and then the protest came by. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the Black Lives Matters individuals came by. People were chanting. There was a whole mob of people like storming past, and it was just so surreal, just kind of being in that kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So at some point, Greg, you decide, or with having spoken to Joe, that you want to help out after like knowing all that information. So what's like that sort of side of it, I guess?
Yeah, so so things kept progressing throughout the day, and I think towards the end of the day, because I was kept asking for updates. Toward the end of the day, like I think after all that stuff happened, I think Joe said more or less they were okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
I only said okay when the
there was a
National
little
Guard.
bit of like National Guard showed up for the
They
evening.
they were not scheduled to show up. It was it was in the dark, and when they did show up, I talked to the captain, and he basically explained to us that they don't know if they're going to stay there for an hour or if they're going to be all night. So he couldn't give me a positive answer. So I still had Greg and some of the other guys that I reached out to on standby. And then towards like the nighttime, like around 9 o'clock, is when they officially got word that they were staying all night. And that's
Okay.
when we were, technically I was relieved at that point.
Mm-hmm. So you're at your business for a while. They're saying, hey, we could leave at any moment. We don't know what the plan is. And then at a certain point, they say, late into the night, they say, hey, we're going to stay the night.
Yeah,
Okay.
Even they didn't get confirmation until like later on in the night. And
Okay.
at that point, just the presence of having the National Guard there, I know you guys were bored out of your minds, but to us,
Yes,
it was such a
yes,
relief.
we were.
It was such a relief for us because it was just me and four of my buddies who worked there, and we were just like, we have a handgun. Like each of us only had a handgun. These guys are coming in by force. The night before, we had guys coming in, and we have all these iron gates. It's a jewelry district. You know how easy it is for them to open that up? Two guys just lifted it, and one guy crawled under and got through, and they started smashing the window. We had to pull our guns on their head, telling them, if you step 1 foot in here, we're going to put one through your head.
Crazy.
And then that's the only way they went out. But they came with tools. They came with chain cutters. It didn't matter. They
didn't just happen to be there. They came there with the intent on breaking in.
Yeah, they didn't care about it. It's just, a crime of opportunity, basically, for them. And this isn't the first time. Anytime there's any form of chaos within that area, they're always looking for a chance to hit us in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just frustrating to deal with.
Yeah.
It's crazy because while we were working those blocks, I would have tenants come down from the apartment buildings and show me videos from the jewelry district of people just shattering windows and going around with hammers, breaking every one of the cabinets there and just taking everything like it was nothing. The Starbucks that was on the block that night where we were stationed.
I think your
Feed kind of slowed down.
Cameron. Yeah. So Cameron, it said.
Oh, where did I leave off at?
I think you're saying.
Starbucks. I heard Starbucks.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
blocks or something like that.
Starbucks.
The block we were at, there was a Starbucks there, and it was completely boarded up because they had ransacked it 2 days previously. So these rioters definitely had a method to their madness. They weren't just going around and causing chaos. There was a plan that was perfectly executed in order to harm these businesses.
Crazy.
I mean, you
So-
hear stories all the time. Even like during like my position there, like I was reaching out to individuals I know in Koreatown, and I was hearing stories from people like my friends and like just acquaintances that I know, and like some people said, yeah, they ransacked us yesterday, and they came back today to just burn down the building. You know what I mean? It's like,
Crazy.
it's like
So they looted you the day before and they burned it down the next day.
Yeah,
Or not you specifically, sorry.
Right. So there's a lot of people that were affected by this,
Crazy.
and it's not covered.
Mm-hmm. So Greg, getting into like the point of the events, I guess, how did that go down?
So, so the reason why these two are also kind of tied together is because the location where Cameron's unit was and where Joe's jewelry store was literally like almost on the same block or like within a block. Like they were
We're half
really
a block. It's like you go around the corner, and that's the Starbucks I go to every single morning. And my car is parked across the street at the parking lot from Starbucks. So that's the route I take to get to work.
Yeah. So they were really close. So, like I haven't. There's a couple different things going on there. So we already explained the whole Asian American side, like the looting and everything. So basically, the idea was to knock out two birds in one stone. Go see Cameron, kind of like give those guys a morale booster and whatnot, and just check on the guys. But also because it was the evening, if I recall, there was a little bit of a worry that someone was going to try to come back in the night. And I know the National Guard guys apparently were supposed to stay there, but I know even Cameron's unit got moved around at night. So it wasn't like 100% guarantee those guys were going to stick there the whole night. But,
there's a lot of confusion about like whether or not the safety would be kept or the peace would be able to be kept by the National Guard, or if they would have to leave.
Like, I would rather go check on it and like, oh, the guard guys are there, cool, as opposed to check on it and the guard guys happen to leave and the place is smashed in. So it's like, if I was able to knock out two birds in one stone, that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So basically that we're getting into like late in the evening, talking to Cameron, like, and I talked to Cameron, he's like, yeah, come on up. I'm like, cool, okay. So I was like, oh, come on up. Now, I don't think Cameron knew I was bringing my guns and shit. I'm pretty sure Cameron just thought I was going to come and say hi, which was I wanted to do, just come up and say hi. But I had my shit on me because it's like, well, if I'm going to go up there, like, I can't defend the fucking jewelry store with nothing. If I do go up there and I do have to defend the jewelry store, I need to bring some shit with me. I had my shit on me. And so like I know everyone makes fun of the whole Uber thing, but here's the deal. It's downtown LA. POVs in general get broken into and robbed all the time in downtown LA. So that already kind of discouraged me. Then
I am a normal civilian, POV, personal, something.
Personal vehicle.
Okay.
Your regular car, right?
Okay.
So it's already bad enough in downtown LA at night with nothing going on for your personal vehicle. Now you throw into you've seen what they're doing to cop cars. What do you think they're going to do to my car? And so just to give you context, my car's a Jurassic Park Jeep.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to drive this movie car down there, leave it, because worst case, it gets destroyed. Other case, it gets stolen or broken into. The other case, it gets impounded if something really bad goes wrong. Then I don't have a car after. So I was looking at my options, like, well, shit, I don't want to borrow someone's car because the same thing can happen to theirs. It was like, well, the one that's the most risk averse to me is taking the fucking Uber. So it's ridiculous. I mean, it's still all ridiculous, but looking at it
in the back, it's not something you would probably call a good idea, but in the time, it was what you chose as your least shitty idea, I guess.
So, least shitty idea. Yeah.
To get there.
The entire thing can be summarized with good execution, bad judgment. But hey, I mean, nothing really crazy happened. So
when you're in that car, are you dressed? People are asking, like, are you like fully like kitted up, or is like everything in a bag? Like, what do you look like?
There was a curfew that night, so Cameron and I were talking to each other because I just wanted to go say hi to him. So we kind of joked around about wearing like multicam or whatever. I still had all my shit. But also there was a curfew that night, so to be honest, no matter what you wore, if you were fucking caught out there with any kind of weapons, you would have been fucked either way. To be honest, it probably would have been worse if I wasn't wearing the shit that I was wearing, because could have either been killed. Like no one pointed, like the entire night, no one pointed guns at me. If I had worn civilian clothes, I would have definitely had fucking guns pointed at me. You know what I'm saying? So and then people say I should have been wearing a civilian patch or whatever. It's like, man, it really would not have mattered what you would have fucking worn. It just wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, I wore multicam because I wanted to see the guys, and some guys were like, didn't know about the unit and stuff like that. So
at this point, you hop out the Uber, you got a bag with you with some stuff.
No, fuck the bag, because it's like if you have a bag, that's even more suspect than not having a bag. If you have a bag, they're gonna want to know what the fuck's in the bag.
So do you mind if I ask, did you get into the Uber with a rifle with you?
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
It was crazy. It was dumb, but fucking Uber guy was cool with it.
And to clear this point up, it was not a. I'm gonna put this in air quotes because everyone's gonna get mad. Ghost gun.
Absolutely not a ghost gun.
Okay.
That's what the media reported, and we'll kind of circle back to the media.
We can
part.
get
Yeah, because they were just putting whatever sounded good in the media, which I kind of laughed because, to be honest, at the first hearing, when they referred to my gun as a ghost gun at the first hearing, that told me they didn't look at any of the evidence, which means the case was like really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so like get the Uber, go down there. I call Cameron because my plan is to go where Cameron's at. Cameron's unit had to move, and I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, okay, I have a choice here. I was like, I can either go home and RTB now, or I fucking stick to my guns and just go with it. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, you fucking just gotta roll the dice. But I was like, I want to see my buddy. I came all this fucking way. I want to see my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he told me where they were going to be. So that's where I went, and I ended up running into like whatever guard guys were there. And the first couple guys I ran into were cool. Like literally, the conversation the whole night is literally like the conversation we're having now.
So they're just kind of chill.
They're chill. That's the tone of the conversation. Like there's no aggression really by any party. Really, it was very like when I seen anticlimactic. I mean, it was anticlimactic. There's nothing. There's no guys running up and saying, put your hands up. There's none of that shit. It was literally just talking with the guys. A couple of the guys are looking at the nods and looking through them and stuff. And because I was just fucking waiting for Cameron at that point. Because I was going to wait for Cameron, and then I was going to go down the street to the jewelry store. It was a little bit of a further like hike to where the jewelry store was, which was not a deal at all. But I was like, fuck it, I'm here. I was like, as soon as you got out of the car, that's it. You're just rolling the dice there. So you're just going to have to fucking just figure shit out from there. So it took a while for Cameron to get there. By the time he got there, it was already too late though. But
yeah, we were refueling by the time where the location I gave him. We weren't there yet. We were refueling, and that was going to meet him there. And the thing about guard guys is they've never seen a pair of PVS 31s in their life. So obviously they're really drawn to Greg because they're like, there's no way in hell we would get this.
Well, here's what's interesting. All Cameron's guys were basically wearing more or less similar or equivalent to what I was wearing. The other guys, not so much.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry. I have an emergency that just kind of came up, so I'm going to have to take off.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me on. Yeah, Greg, everything that Greg did was out of good intention. The media portrayed him to be something that was completely wrong.
Yeah, I think the one thing, Cameron, you could probably speak of real quick is the whole military ID thing, because I remember you and I were talking. You said the fucking cop did not know what this fucking thing was.
Yeah.
It's a government issued ID that has the name and rank and DOD ID number and everything. And it's like, I don't care if you've never seen it before. It's a fucking real ID. Like,
yeah.
Why
as
do you
far
have
as,
to text? It's literally right.
Like Greg mentioned, I was too late. So by the time I got there, they LAPD apprehended him. So I went down there with my platoon leader, and we, because I got a call, and they're like, "Do you know this guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's my boy. I'm gonna come right now." And the ID that Greg had was a reserve component ID. It's a legit ID that you get when you get out, because per contract you are technically still on call. If something would to happen, you're gonna get called and activated again. So this is the ID that Greg had, and it's a legit federal ID. And the LAPD officer that I was speaking with had never seen one before, and they thought it was forged. It wasn't forged; it was legit, and it just was a little sign of ignorance on that part. But it was just an unfortunate night that shouldn't have happened.
And I think one other thing that bothered me is that a couple of the guard guys were basically acting like they saved the world. Like, it's like, dude, what? Like,
yeah, that didn't happen either.
There was a couple of those guys that were just like, they were the I was there guys. And it's like, they're like a fucking block away. It's like, you don't even know what fucking happened. What do you mean you were there? Like,
but I'm going to take off, gentlemen. Thank you for having me again.
Hey, Cameron,
Greg,
thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Joseph, nice meeting you. Reno,
Hey.
it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Take it easy, man.
But, so let's see. That happened. I mean, it was, like I said, it was super anticlimactic. I was talking to a couple guys. We were actually talking. The discussion that we were having at the time was about the U.S. Army getting issued the M17. That was like literally the discussion that we were having. Joe, did you raise your hand? Or?
Oh no, I was just saying bye to Cameron.
Oh, okay. Sorry, the delay of the feed.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
But yeah, we were like discussing the M17, and a couple of those guys were looking at the ID too and trying to figure it out. It's literally right in front of you. And like, to be honest, they were using the green cards before I got out, like back in like way 2000, so 2007. These fucking green cards were still around. So I don't know why some of those guys look like they've never seen it before.
So I got a couple people asking, do you mind going in Grand Thumb fashion, tip to butt, of your body and whatever you had with you? I guess,
yeah,
like, what were you wearing? What did you have with you? You know, you can go ass to mouth or tip to butt. Really doesn't matter here.
Okay, tip to butt. Mike would laugh a lot. So basically, it's like, it really wasn't different because Cameron was wearing Cries, a JPC, an airframe. I was wearing an MTech, which is basically a single shell air. That's essentially what it is, single shell airframe. It wasn't PVS 31s, it was DTMBGs. Just had my, which Coyote plate carrier was it? I think it was my LBT plate carrier. Had all my Haley shit on. I mean, just had all my regular stuff on and just had my Cries. It was pretty simple, run of the mill. Safari Land holster, Glock 19X, Tanadized X300U. Let's see. Rifle was a serialized kinetic development group lower. It was, I mean, when the rifle was built, it was literally legal for the state. Back in pre-2016 when it was bought, and like none of this information is like not known. The detectives know, everybody knows. So that's why when like it got to court, they didn't even give it the right nomenclature. But when people kept calling Ghost Gun, it's like, did you not look at the actual interview with the detective? Did you not look at information? It's like the information is right in front of the face. They just use whatever sounded me. It's like, dude, this is a serialized lower. This weapon was built, and it was legal when it was built.
So I'm assuming that at this point in time with California law, it's not compliant with California law.
No, it wasn't compliant, and like I said, that's not new information for anybody.
Yeah.
My thing is like, okay, if my life's going to depend on this, do I really want all this other shit that's going to get me killed, or do I want to be able to use it?
The questions that every Californian with an AR-15 asks themselves.
And that's the gamble. I mean, look, that's the gamble you take. You know, it's like, you know, I was willing to take that risk, and like ultimately, I mean, here's the thing: anything can happen now. You could be defending your home. You could be defending your business, and something happens. I mean, it could happen to anybody, or they come searching your home and stuff, and then fucking you defend yourself, and all of a sudden your weapon's not Cali compliant.
Yeah.
So now what do you do? Now all these Californians that have non-compliant weapons, which is fucking most of them, themselves in home, now they're in the same boat as me.
I get people that ask me that question a lot. You know, like if I defend myself with, and I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, but a lot of people say, like, you know, if I defend myself with a non-compliant firearm, can I get in trouble? I'm like, you know, you can still get in trouble for possession of an assault weapon, you know? Like, you can still get in trouble for that stuff regardless of whether or not your shoot was good. And then I don't even know if that affects the ability to defend yourself, because if you're in the act of committing, you know, a felony or a misdemeanor while you defend yourself, it gets, I don't know, just a conversation that I'm not prepared to, like, give advice on, you know?
I do want to address one comment, because the guy's clearly a dumbass. He was asking about a deployment patch. It's like, yeah, I wasn't wearing a fucking deployment patch, so like fucking dude wasn't there, so how the fuck is he supposed to know? Also, some of those guard guys, and Cameron and I were talking about this too, some of those fucking guys in 160th Infantry, like, he doesn't even like that unit. Like, some of those guys are fucking idiots. It's like, you've never seen this fucking patch before? Like, did you not study the 10 basic units in the Army when you went through basic? Like, are you guys fucking that dumb? Like, holy shit. That kind of was mind-boggling to me. That some of the, like, the first Special Forces Command patch, like, holy shit. Have you guys never seen that before? Like, I don't know. Some of those guys are just really dumb. Yeah, so, go to tip to butt. Yeah, it was just a Centurion Arms, rifle, Battle Comp, 51.0, aim point. Actually, fuck Firepower United. Fuck Long is where I got the aim point from. It actually, yeah, and it was Aero Precision Upper, rating, weapons, charging handle, shout out Weapons Outfitters, Roy Weapons Outfitters.
Good company.
It was a Weapons Outfitters radiant charging handle. But Yeah, it had like PTS grip and PTS stop, and it's standard. I mean, they have the weapon, so they're gonna destroy it. But
So one question that
it's
I
just a
have,
really
yeah,
basic range. When it, like I said, it was when California weapons have to be a certain length.
yeah,
But yeah, it's the basic AR. It also had a rad lock on it because at the time when it was built,
mm-hmm,
rad lock was still a
yeah.
thing. After that, it just became irrelevant. But
Um, so I think, let's see. So at the point of, it seems like there's a lot of confusion about whether or not Joe did in fact like tell you to come at the time that you kind of did. I was talking to Joe, and it kind of seems like there's, you know, contact, lack points of time where there's lack of contact that could have potentially led to you coming when maybe you didn't need to. That kind of, so like, what is your point of view, like how it went down as far as like deciding to make the move to come?
well, that's the thing. It's like there was enough intelligence during the day that it was like, well, it could go either. It honestly could really go either way. Either A, nothing happens, or B, the whole place gets fucking ransacked. The thing is, you just don't know. You don't know until it happens. So
To be fair, yeah,
I
it was. We didn't know. Like honestly, the intel that I was actually sending Greg, uh, I mean, I could see why he thought that he needed to come up, and to be honest with you, like I said, until like that late in the night, until we got the confirmation that the guard were sitting in place and watching that area.
Which is like basically like after 10 o'clock at that point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Until that point, like I myself was questioning, like, do we have the manpower for this? Like, do I need to call these guys in, and like help out with like just watching the area, you know? Because like we experienced that during the afternoon, the day prior there was those incidents, and everything leading up to that, it was really tense. So I mean I completely understand why Greg took the initiative to come up, you know.
like I said, good execution, bad judgment. I mean, ultimately, most like here's the thing with a lot of these crazy situations, it doesn't matter if you're Travis Haley on a rooftop, it doesn't matter if you're being downtown LA, it doesn't matter if you're some Joe somewhere, it doesn't matter if you're fucking no matter where you are, you never really know what's gonna happen until after it's happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of crazy shit happened that day, which like a lot of shit. Like I said, Joe and I have been living in LA for a while, and at least like at least while we've been there, it's been pretty mellow. So a lot of the stuff was kind of new to us, like especially at least in our adult time, about like all this crazy shit that's been happening. So it's like things were kind of pointing in a really weird, bad direction.
And I was sending him pictures too of those individuals, and I was explaining to him like what was happening and the intel that I was getting from the mayor's office and stuff. And yeah, it's not just those guys, but like we were just being cased, you know. So it was just so, yeah, like I said, we didn't know what was going to happen like until the very end. And once we got to leave, yeah, we left. That's it.
Hindsight's a bitch, man. Like you just don't know until you know. Yeah. And it's like it was one of those things. Like I decided to I was like, okay, I can make a safe choice, or I can make a risky choice. What is my principle telling me which choice to make?
Yeah. And so some people are kind of asking, like, did the National Guard, I guess, detain you? Because there's people claiming to have been there that were in the National Guard that said, like, I was there and I grabbed him, or I was there and I stopped him, distracted him. Like, what was that actually like?
The National Guard did not detain me. And by distracting, you mean, like, having a conversation? Talk about, like, if that's some guy's definition of detainment, then that guy's a straight Blue Falcon buddy fucker. Because here's the thing. If one of those fucking guys is willing to do something to me, a fellow veteran, right? Mm-hmm. What are they going to do to you? If the National Guard gets put into a position where they have to come fucking take your shit, like I said, they're going to do it to me, and they're probably going to fucking do it to you.
Yeah.
So, and like any of these guys who are proud of that, like you took a fucking oath to the Constitution. And last time I checked, that oath, like the Constitution, you take that oath as it's written. Mm-hmm. It's not as it's interpreted. It's as it's written, right? So if you fucking think it's funny to like fuck me over just because you think it's funny, I'm thinking you're fucking forgetting about the Constitution, buddy. And not to mention that, here's what pisses me off. You can sign up to defend this country. You can swear an oath to the Constitution. But anytime you try to exercise the rights that you signed up to die for, you get turned into a criminal. Like, that pisses me off. Like, how could you go? Like, literally, I could get called activated to go to war with China. I go fucking die in China, right? Fucking go die trying to defend the Korean Peninsula. Japan,
they'll
anywhere
hand
else.
you they'll hand you a full auto AR-15
Oh yeah,
and say go
use
do
the
it.
fucking gun that we taught you how to use. The military tells you the rifle's your life. You have to sleep with that bitch next to you, and people will try to take it away from you while you're sleeping at night. In fucking training, they teach you this bitch is like it's like a religion for you almost, right? And depending what unit you're in and whatever, it depends how seriously you take that. But you do take an oath to the Constitution. So any of these guys who are proud of taking weapons away from private citizens, they can go fuck themselves. Because the fucking Constitution is what you swore to defend. And the fact that veterans can't even exercise the rights that they literally signed on to die for is a fucking shame. Yeah. It's like, really? Like, so you taught me how to use this. You gave me a fucking fully auto version of this. And when it was convenient for them, it was okay. But and here's the thing: all these guys get out. You think veterans, when they get out of the military, you think their values change? Like that oath is fucking for life, man. Like you know, I'm not a part of like the 3%ers, the Oath Keepers, any of those fucking groups. I'm not a part of that. But the thing is, the oath is a fucking oath, man. Like some people just took it more seriously than everybody else. But last time I checked, it's like that's fucking part of the job. So any of these guys who are proud of that should honestly fucking be ashamed of themselves.
So kind of, I agree with a lot of that stuff. You know, like a lot of those guys were acting as if they saved the day, like they stopped a mass shooter. But really, that's not.
You stop someone from pushing over a fucking 9-year-old Asian lady. You stop someone from burning someone's store down. Did you stop someone from fucking doing something crazy? Did you stop someone and save someone's life? No, they fucked somebody else over, and that's what they're proud of.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not a fucking hero. You're a fucking piece of shit. Mm-hmm. You're a Blue Falcon and you're a fucking traitor to the Constitution. How the fuck does that make you feel? You proud of that? Like, who the fuck's proud of that? Like, really? Seriously, who the fuck would be proud of
that? So question that someone asked, did you tell Greg, like, straight up, like, were you at ever any point, do not come? Or was it kind of just like, giving updates on the situation as things are happening? Because people were claiming to be you on various Facebook posts, or claiming to be the friend that Greg was going to help out. I think I saw several different Facebook posts. I don't have the screenshots anymore, but at several points there were people that were claiming on various Facebook groups to be the friend Greg was talking to, and you know, there were several of them. So I'm assuming that it's probably not exactly the truth.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, the only time I told Greg not to come was well after 10 o'clock, when the guard were there for more than 30 minutes after letting me know that they were going to stay. So once we got that relief from them and I started to head out, I gave him a final call. We had a conversation over the phone. And, you know, I told him, hey, everything's cool. The guard's here. We're being relieved. Like, everything's died down. It's been quiet for the last, few hours now. And, we're okay. Like, just stay home. Just like, don't come up here. Like, it's dangerous up here. And it's just like, don't get involved with anything. And I had no idea, Greg was already on his way up.
Yeah.
So the last conversation he and I had.
I already talked to Cameron too. And Cameron's like, come up. So I was like,
yeah.
kind of got like,
I didn't know he was thinking about that. But when I talked to him, I was like, we're good. Thanks for like, being out there, putting yourself out there on the ready for me, and I appreciated that. So I told him, and then we said our good nights, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think that's like a thing to note is like at that point, things are already in motion. It seems.
Right. And I had no idea that it was in motion at that point until, I heard about it the next day.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have questions about, Greg, can you still own and shoot guns?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so you still got your 2A rights. Let me put an asterisk on that. Your rights to keep and bear arms don't end ever. However, the government has not decided that you don't. So you do still have your Second Amendment rights. Awesome. That's cool. That's good to know. I think a lot of people were assuming that you were going to get hit with like all kinds of charges and everything. So
there's a lot of factors that went into that, right? So no criminal history. I mean, literally, I only got one fucking speeding ticket. And it was like it was like something like on the H1 or H3 in Hawaii where the speed limit's like 40 miles an hour and I was going like 45. So it's like, I mean, I play it pretty safe. I don't really do anything like crazy or stupid or anything like that. But that was one of those things where like my principles were probably driving me a lot that night. But yeah, so yeah, I didn't lose any of my Second Amendment rights. So obviously there was like the arrest and everything, and like I said, it fucking was super anticlimactic. Like anyone who says they detained me, well, it's a joke because they were just talking. That's all they were doing was talking. That's it. No one fucking put their hands on me about the LAPD. So any of these guys claiming to be like the hero, I detained them. Fucking bunch of idiots. But yeah, no, they just detained me. They obviously took my stuff, and like I said, I fully complied with everything. And then Cameron showed up, talked to the people. They were trying to figure out the whole thing with the ID and whatever. But Cameron obviously couldn't stay. Like the units are still active, so they had to move around the city. So he had to go. So yeah, just did 2 nights in jail, which really wasn't too bad. But although I will say one thing that was really funny. Obviously, there's mostly minorities in this detention center. They're literally playing the widest fucking TV you could possibly watch on the TV in the middle of the detention center. I mean, I kind of enjoy it because it's like Big Bang Theory, Friends, a whole bunch of other stuff. So, and it's like really shitty audio. So you can't like, it's like an echo chamber in there. So you can't hear anything. But I've seen these episodes before. So I'm just like enjoying it. And I'm like, are they doing this on purpose to these fucking guys in here? And it was funny because one of the guys who was working in the detention center actually knew me too, so I talked to him a little bit. And then then I got out and like literally as soon as I picked up my phone, I mean it was like, see, this part pissed me off. Like guys from the police department and from the National Guard were leaking this stuff to the news to like basically benefit out of it, and it's just like. Really? Like, and there's just some stuff. It's like you look at some of these pictures, like you can only get this picture if you were in the room. So who gave you the fucking authorization to release this picture? Right? Like, yeah. And it's just from some dude's cell phone. So it's like, wow, way to have like OPSEC at this fucking place. It's like, okay, so I know that's how they roll. But it was actually really cool. One of the guys that was in the detention center when they were looking for all my stuff, like I asked him really nicely, like, hey dude, could you put the caps back on the DTNVGs? And he's like, oh, sure, yeah. Because I guess he was one of the only guys who'd used night vision before. So he's like, oh, yeah, let me cover these bitches up for you. Thanks. So there was a couple guys that were cool and a couple guys that were just complete idiots, both from law enforcement and the military side, because they're just ignorant. They just don't know. But after that, so after that get out, obviously lots of phone calls and stuff. Kind of jumping into the legal side of it, which is probably what people are most interested about because I get it. I'm the guinea pig, right? You want to know what happened to me so you can have an idea of what could potentially happen to you. Yeah. Thing is, like I said, no criminal history, military background. I mean, it was like, look, like after the news hype, once they actually looked at it, they were basically like, this is kind of lame. I mean, like the news even had a request to be at one of the court hearings, but either they forgot to show up or whatever, but they never showed up after. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure by the time the DA actually looked at the evidence, he was like, I don't know what went through the guy's mind. But obviously, if they thought it was really something bad, they would have actually really pursued it. I kind of really get it. Yeah. Did you get all your stuff back, like your nods, guns, and that kind of thing? Or it's still taking some time, but I'm actually getting my Glock 19X back. And my night vision, the rifle's the only thing that's getting destroyed. So I'm literally getting my gun, my fucking shit back. And that's because it was in the state of California considered an assault weapon, so they can't transfer it back, I'm assuming? No, I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Okay. All I know is they're going to destroy it. I don't really care because that weapon was not that expensive. The fucking Glock was probably more expensive than the rifle. Yeah. Are you on any sort of like probation or anything like that? Not really. No, not really. Okay. So, I mean, I can basically do what I want. I mean, all I do now is I just deal with this stuff and take pictures now. But I mean, eventually I'll get back into it. I'm not in a huge rush. So like with the legal side, what was funny is the first hearing, I think I mentioned before, they basically said it was a ghost gun. And when they mentioned that, I was like, okay, that tells me he didn't look at the body cam footage. He didn't listen to the detective's interview or anything. So that just told me that he was basically, it was like the guy got all his information from the news, the DA at the first hearing. Because like at the second hearing, things mellowed out because I'm pretty sure by then he actually looked at the evidence, was like, okay, this is kind of dumb. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it probably helped that I was Asian too. But I mean, it just kind of, like I said, it was very anticlimactic. It just getting bumped, and then eventually we got a deal, and the deal was pretty simple. I get my ship back, it just gets downgraded, and that was it. Really, like I got a really amazing deal. Now, I'm not saying everyone's gonna get that deal.
Yeah.
Maybe my lawyers did some really, like, it could have been a combination of my lawyers being really good. And by the way, the Firearms Policy Coalition guys reached out to me. Like, everyone, their mother reached out to me.
That's good to
The
know.
FPC guys, super cool dudes.
Yeah.
If you ever need legal advice, hit those guys up. I mean, let's face it, if you carry a gun, you're either forced to use it or get into a situation one day, whether it's your fault or not. Good to know that guys like that will assist. Well, at least help you out. Now, I didn't end up using them just because my family was really, really stuck on using this one group of lawyers, but they're really, really good. So, yeah, like, and here's what's funny. I mean, like, even at the very last hearing, they still kept calling the AR-15 an ARP-5. So what does that tell you about their level of, like, education on, like, it was just, like, really, like, I had to stop myself from laughing in court because
I saw someone comment in the chat a quote saying the AR. Yeah, someone commented in the chat in quotes, the ARP-5 weapon involved in this case is ordered confiscated and destroyed. And I'm assuming, with most guns, if there's any sort of law enforcement involvement, they can transfer back things that are off roster, that are, legal firearms in the state of California, putting that in air quotes. And so, like, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, how can you get that PPT or that off-roster gun back? And it's typically because in a situation like this, it's not a normal firearms transfer.
Like, my G19X was bought from the LA Sheriff's Department guy.
Yeah. So, yeah, and because it's a law enforcement, like, transfer back to the owner and not, like, a typical, like, going to a gun store and buying it, that's why a lot of people were asking, how can you get the Glock 19X back? It's off roster, it's off roster, it's off roster. And I'm like, it's different because it's not like he's just going to a gun store and buying it, He's like, it was his and the government is giving it back to him. And then someone else commented saying, in quotes, defendant may not possess weapons except during the course and scope of employment at the Scottsdale address where the weapons are built. Is that anything to do with the orders and whatnot? Or
I mean, that's daily strategic. So basically, like, I can have weapons there. Basically, that's what it says. It was pretty cut and dry.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, if I'm involved, like, because that was one thing that got brought up, right? I was like, okay, so I work for a company that builds weapons. So my lawyers brought that up, and so they were able to, they're like, oh, okay, he works at a place that makes weapons, so here you go. So that, I was actually kind of surprised I got that too, but that was pretty cut and dry.
Okay, cool. I think people are right.
But I will say this too, it's like, without, like, guys like Travis Haley and stuff like that was a huge, huge help. Like, as many haters as there were, like, here's the thing, like, it doesn't really matter what it is, whether it's guns or something else in your life. Any kind of negative event in your life will tell you who your friends really are. And as bad as the event was, it really showed me who my friends were. And honestly, to be honest, like, where I am now is actually better than where I was before. Yes, it was a very expensive mistake. Don't get me wrong. But I'm actually making more money than I was now. I'm living in a much better place.
So really, just really so the people that aren't really familiar, that don't follow you like I do, maybe, you have since moved to Arizona, are working with Travis Haley at Haley Strategic Partners in Arizona. Just some backstory, I guess, because a lot of people might not know that.
Yeah, so, I've been working there. It's great. It's really good, great enjoyment, really good pay, a lot of great opportunities. I mean, literally, in the same building, we've got one of the best AK builders in the world. And we've got one of the best firearms instructors in the world.
That's cool.
I mean, here's the thing. All these haters out there who keep spewing shit in the comments, here's the fact. Despite all the shit that's happened to me, my life is probably better than yours, so they can go fuck themselves. That's the truth. It's fucking true. Like, I don't know what goes on in their life, but my life is pretty fucking good right now.
I totally, I feel that energy. A lot of people, on the internet, a lot of people think that they might know you per se, and I'm speaking, like, towards myself when I say know you. a lot of people think that they might know the person. They might think, oh, this person has an ego, or oh, this person pops off on people that are talking shit. Well, you gotta kind of keep in mind. Imagine you're just walking around, you're doing your daily business, and some dude who you don't know that has no affiliation with you starts saying some shit at you. Yeah, like I'm gonna pop off every once in a while. I'm gonna say that you're an idiot. You know, it's just how it is.
Especially guys that like weren't there or weren't involved or like whatever. It's like, well, what kind of principles do you live on, man? Are you gonna be there when it's are you gonna be there when it's difficult? Even, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I would rather be there for my friends when it's considered like not legal, but like not more like, as long as it's morally right and built on principle, even if it's like looked down upon, I'll still be there for my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like 100% honest. I think it was a pretty dingus move.
Absolutely. That's why I said it's like good execution, bad judgment.
Yeah,
So I had a big discussion with Travis about it too. It's like, I mean, there's a lot of fucking people who are already in the gun industry who've been arrested or done way worse things. Like, I mean, it's like, God, it's like half these fucking probably guys that are in the comments probably like cheated on their wife or like beat their wife or something like that. Like, there's actually things that people do that are actually morally wrong, like morally like corrupt, like no principle. And like, I would rather be the person that sticks by the principle even when it's hard than not. I mean, even if it sucks, because obviously that shit sucks. But I had to think about it a lot.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from my point of view, obviously, like I made a video about it, like I spoke about it, and some of that information was definitely wrong. Like, and I'm totally willing to admit that. I have my own like.
Some guy in the comments says the mistakes being used to build gun laws. It's not. California already has retarded gun laws, so and obviously, like if it was being used to fulfill gun laws, then they would have stuck with the maximum punishment, which they obviously didn't. Like, people keep saying felon. It's like, you fucking see a felon on my fucking record? Fuck no. Clearly, they saw that it was just a big misunderstanding and they changed it. So people can go fuck themselves. Because obviously, the information's public information. They want to look and see if there's a big F next to my name. Fucking go look.
Yeah.
If you want to look, then go fuck yourself.
Joe, sorry, if you want to take off, you totally can. I don't want to like force you to be here. I'm not saying leave. Not saying leave. I'm not telling you to leave.
Enjoying the conversation.
Okay, yeah. So I just want to let you know, like, if you feel like you got to go or anything, you totally can. I just wanted to, like, before we kind of like keep going, I just wanted to be like, all right, I hope Joe doesn't feel like he has to leave and he's just like, fuck this guy, fuck Reno.
No, I'm actually enjoying this because I'm actually getting a lot more insight into what happened that day.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Cameron's insight's really good to have because we basically like. If the guys involved only had a few pieces of the puzzle, then imagine how many pieces of the puzzle the people that were watching had, which was like none. Like, all these guys in the comments who weren't involved, like, if you don't have any of the fucking pieces of the puzzles, how the fuck do you know what happened? Yeah.
A guy on Super Chat said, "Hey man, Second Amendment all the way. Your only mistake was wearing expensive nards in front of the National Guard. Whether I think that was your only mistake, totally different. But hey, you got some supporters, Greg."
Well, here's the thing too. With the way the government's going, everyone in this chat could potentially go into the fucking in the shit list really fast.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like at that when that happens, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna stick by your principles or are you not? Like, it's like people have to ask themselves those questions. But overall, like legally, it's done. It's basically done. Like, it's been done for a little while now.
That's good to know. Like, it's good to know that you still can legally like do gun shit. Because that was, I think a lot of people were kind of like, at first they see all the charges and they're like, oh fuck, like is this guy gonna be able to?
I had talked to like a bunch of detective buddies of mine from LA. Like, one of my buddies, he worked at PTS, or still works at PTS part time as like a Leo like contributor or whatever. He's a former Marine SWAT guy. Did joint task force with the FBI, but even he was like, yeah, nothing's really gonna happen with this case. It's like, it's kind of a dumb case. It's like, because I know they got pinged at the joint task force and the FBI got pinged about it, but he's like, yeah, it's kind of a dumb case, so nothing's really gonna happen. I mean, basically everything that he said was true. So obviously it's a dumb idea, but you never know what's gonna happen until you know. And like, even if you carry a gun every day, you're already taking a risk. Honestly, I mean, you're taking a risk no matter what. If you own guns, if you have guns, that kind of, I'm like. So now that my situation's more or less been resolved, I want to kind of give another shit because, like I said, shit like this doesn't matter if you do something or you don't do something. It could happen to you. Alan's son, which you make videos on, is a really good friend. He's one of the people from the airsoft community. Like one thing that I hated that happened to me is bad shit happened to me, and then people I knew used me as content to fuel their media machine. I'm like, I would never do that. So I want to take this opportunity. So it's like fuck what happened to me. I care about guys like Alan, guys who did nothing, and like then they came and fucked it.
Alan really got like as fucked as you can get, and so it's one of those things. When I talk about I've made videos talking about like the risks of non-compliance. I think a lot of people they don't take into consideration the kind of situation that can happen. Like what happened with Alan's son, he's minding his own business, doing like literally nothing to hurt anybody. His roommates have an issue. Police show up, say that they're going to enter without his consent because they have the legal authority to, because it's a domestic situation. They show up, happen to see his gun that's laying out, at which point they're like, yeah, today we're going to fuck your shit up. So it's just a crazy situation.
So, guys, whether guys fucking hate my guts or make fun of me or whatever, I don't really care. Like, I don't fucking care. Go fucking support Alan because that guy needs help. I'm like, people were making fun of me like, oh, when's Greg's GoFundMe happening? Guess what, motherfuckers? I'm not using GoFundMe. I'm fucking paying for that shit all myself because that's how much money I'm making. But go fucking support Alan because that motherfucker needs help. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Really got fucked. Don't fucking give me a dime. Go fucking help his ass out. Yeah. Because, like I said, that can fucking happen to anybody in California. If you fucking live in California and you have a gun, it fucking happen to you. So, I haven't heard from him, but like I was talking to him pretty regularly for a while because we're both kind of in the same boat. But Alan's a good guy. Like, Alan did nothing wrong. In my eyes, in the eyes of the Constitution, fucking Alan did nothing wrong. I don't care how his rifles were configured. I don't care about that shit at all. What I care about is Alan a good man? Alan was trying to join like the sheriff's department or like he's trying to become a law enforcement officer. He's trying to contribute to society. So, this society turning good people into criminals is fucking stupid. Especially people who fucking literally said they would die for the Constitution can't even execute those rights. So, and my thing is, everyone should be able to exercise those rights, regardless of whether you signed up to defend it or not. But yeah, so just because like I care about that guy, I want you guys to support him. Even if you fucking hate my guts, I don't fucking care. Go fucking support Alan. That guy, nothing wrong. He's a great guy. Go fucking support him. I don't want a dime of anybody's fucking money. I'm gonna pay for that shit all myself because I'm a fucking man. But yeah, fucking go support Alan because fuck, dude, they really reamed him hard with that. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I wish Alan the best. It's like we only got one ship, man. We're all gun owners, so it's like shaming people for trying to do the right thing is fucking stupid. When ultimately, the only thing that we should really look at, whether it's right and wrong, is the fucking Constitution. That's it.
Yeah.
If you're a gun owner, if you're a gun owner, you rely on the Second Amendment. That's all you need to know. That's it.
Yeah. So I got just like a statement and a comment, I guess. Just to let you know, some people are saying that they feel like you're having an ego on this situation, and this is kind of like a long statement / question. So I'm gonna try to finish it, and then I'll let you kind of go into it.
Here's the deal: if you had like fucking thousands of messages and a bunch of these people hating you, I'm at the point I don't care. I really don't care. My life's better than these people, like significantly better than these people, because it is. I'm doing well, and for me, my principles were never compromised. Bad judgment, yes, but I think if your principles are in the right place, I really don't care. I mean, it's like,
I think a lot of people would probably agree that you had good intentions of wanting to protect your community. I think a lot of people would also be in agreement that, looking at it, it obviously led to not good things happening, and things could have gone a lot worse for you.
I mean, they could have gotten worse, but like I said, it was like it was really anticlimactic. Like, it wasn't like some guy came up with me and his gun and his gun in my face. Like literally, it went from talking, and then some guy was like, "Oh, hey, you're under arrest." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, cool, whatever, that's it."
And then
Like,
kind of in your defense, like I totally get that. Like I think a lot of people don't understand the like capacity that it takes to not pop off on people, because I've learned this a lot in the recent history is you got a lot of people that might agree with you, might love you, good comments, good community going, but I'm always going to get a certain amount of comments from people that have sub 70 IQs and are super aggressive and pissed off. And people like that, yeah, I'm gonna talk some shit. Because when you have 700 people a day saying good things, and then you got like 500 people a day, whatever numbers it is, like it doesn't really matter. But when you have a certain amount of people that just kind of come at you with hate and hate and hate, hell yeah, I'm going to talk some shit back. So I totally get that. I just want to, people are making comments about the like ego that they feel that you are presenting. But in my point of view, I get it. Like,
I'm just done with it. Like I'm just like, I don't give a shit anymore, because it's like it's one, it's done, but two, it's like, fuck, for me, it's a huge weight off my shoulder just to tell these people they're idiots. Like, go fucking like these are the same people who are always commenting like, is that a Cali compliant rifle? It's like,
yeah.
do you support the fucking Second Amendment or not? Or are you just trying to fuck other people? Like, you have like, there are fucking more Republicans in California than there are in Texas.
Yeah.
Right? So like that tells you how many gun owners are in California. Are you trying to fuck those people like just for fun? Right? Or are you a principled person and you actually fucking believe in the Constitution and the Second Amendment? Like I said, I'm a simple guy. I'm a fucking immigrant. I'm fucking grew up in the United States, served in the military, whatever. I'm a simple guy. I just live by my principles. That's it. And to me, it's like either you believe in the Second Amendment or you fucking don't. So if you try to go out and like shame people for exercising their Second Amendment rights, like, yes, are there better ways of exercising those rights? Sure. Considering what was going on in fucking Los Angeles right now, like, it was some crazy shit. Like, Joe was not the only person that reached out to me who was worried about either their business or worried about their family. Like, another chick that's stationed out in Fort Irwin, she was worried that her mom was going to need to get evacuated out of Santa Monica because Santa Monica was getting fucking stacked. So it's like, what do you do? Like, you fucking like, this shit's going down, and like, you never know how far the shit's going down until it stops. But what if it doesn't stop? You never know.
Yeah. I'm gonna take like 1 minute to like describe, because I think a lot of people have probably come in and out of the chat to kind of catch everyone up of what's going on. So some things we cleared up: was not a ghost gun. That was a big one a lot of people had. Greg does have his Second Amendment rights. That's pretty, clear as day. He can own guns and shoot guns now. Greg is now living in Arizona. He was asked to come. He did not get detained or assaulted by the National Guard in their effort to stop the next mass shooter, because that's not what was going on.
And also, there was one other factor. I kind of wish Cameron was here, but there was like people. So they put in the news that there was a protest, but there was no, like, what kind of fucking protest shows up at fucking like midnight or like 11 o'clock at night? There was literally nobody fucking there. Yeah. Like, literally the National Guard guys were going to the taco truck. Like, when I was talking to them, like, they were sending their Joes to this taco truck to get fatter. So it was like, there was fucking nobody there. So like, I was like, wait, where did this protest thing come from? This narrative that there was a protest, like, there wasn't a fucking protest. I guess there was gonna be one the next day, and that's what they thought it was in reference to. But I was like, there was fucking nobody there. That's why I kind of like, when I was like, I was kind of laughing at my, like, I was just like, really? Like, people actually like think this is like accurate. I mean, that's the thing. You never know how like fake the news is until you're in the news. So I was looking at that. I was kind of like, Jesus, this is so sad. It's like almost funny. Like, there was fucking nobody there. So I was like, where did this protest narrative come from? It was kind of like, this is retarded. But yeah, that was like one of the other facts that wasn't clarified, but Cameron could back that up too, because like I said, it was just LAPD, National Guard guys. That's it. Nobody else was there.
Sorry, there was one person that asked a question that I thought was good, and I tried to stay on it, but the chat moved. So someone said there's a key difference between accountability and responsibility. You just got to learn which belongs where. The justification, excuses, etc. doesn't help the case for your character. Behind the mechanics of the situation are intentions which people are going to presume based on your secondary actions. Do you have a general response to that? Like, so I think you were very clear. Like, you think it was a bad idea to go down there. Like, knowing this now, right?
It's a bad idea, but going on principles. Accountability, when you mean the accountability part, like the legal part, it's like if you carry a gun, you kind of have to accept some level of risk and accountability no matter what.
Yeah, like you knew what you were getting into when you went down there, right?
It's the fucking lion's den, but it's like at the same time, it's like, well, fuck. One, I want to see my buddy because he asked me to come up there. Two, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go check on my buddy's fucking place to make sure I didn't get fucking ransacked. I mean, that's basically is what it is. It's nothing too crazy or whatever, but considering the history of how Asian American businesses and Asian Americans have been treated in like the LA area, is like, you know what? I'm fucking going for it. Fuck it. It's like, I'm just gonna go check it out, make sure it's good. It's good. I'll find my way home. Whatever.
There's some people that are saying, you know, like taking a plea deal is to like they're associating that with like conceding on the Second Amendment, or that because you plea, that means that you believe in gun control. And I just want to put that to bed. I completely disagree. Whether or not we agree with what the laws are does not mean that the government will not kill or rob us of all of our property. So we gotta, like, idealistically, I live in a world where taxes don't exist and everybody is as free as can be. But realistically, I understand that we live in a society that is not that way. In the same way that I understand that I can't live in the land of sunshine and rainbows like the super far left-leaning people want to live in. The world is a dangerous place. The government is not very good. And I think people just need to understand that just because you took a plea deal, that's not selling out. I just disagree. Some people are going to hold to that point of like, just stick to it 100%. There's nuance in this world, and the world isn't ideal. So I don't know. I want to say that I disagree with that.
Wait, I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you make mistakes in life, you have to, like Travis Haley says, you have to stand tall in front of the man. You just got to be a man about it. And the biggest thing with me that in talking with him that kept resonating was like principles, morality. There's a difference between like a crime where you rob and like kill an innocent person, or like an elderly person, or like stealing from people. Like, to me, my principles, what I consider a fucking real crime, is like if you're fucking going after like the defenseless and stuff, like shit like that everybody should be like, that's fucking wrong. California turning citizens into criminals, to me, is like the fucking dumbest thing ever. And like I said, a lot of these people are like veterans and just regular gun owners and stuff. And that's the thing. Any of you guys, whether you're transporting a gun, whether you're at the gun range, whether you're defending yourself in your home, whether you're responding to an active shooter event, doesn't fucking matter. In California, any one of those could land you in fucking shit. So just owning or carrying a gun in California, period, can land you in hot water. So you're taking a risk in general, and there's going to be accountability for said risk in general. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, what do you want? Like, the only way to be completely risk adverse is to just not own or not carry a gun.
It's to not exist.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if you're going to carry a gun, yes, there's accountability and risk attached to that. Did I point my gun at anybody? No. Did anybody point their gun at me? No. It's like, what the fuck? You know, it's like, it's so stupid. It's like, dude, you carry a gun. Of course there's risk. Of course there's going to be accountability for that. What would you expect?
Yeah.
It's like the only way to avoid that is to not even be a gun owner or participate in the Second Amendment at all.
Sorry, my my camera died, which is no concern at all. It wouldn't be a Reno May stream without my camera dying at least once. Someone asked, what was the Uber driver's reaction? This is, I guess, kind of a lighthearted question.
Okay, that guy was cool. Well, here's the thing.
Did you give him a 5-star rating? That's my question.
I did give him a 5-star rating, but here's the thing.
What did he rate? What did he rate you?
I don't remember.
Okay. Sorry, that just came in my head right now. I just had to know.
By the time I got out, my Uber account was already disabled. So, hey, Lyft, it's all on you, man. It's all on Lyft. But here's the thing. That Uber driver had literally just gone through surviving Santa Monica. And Santa Monica was like a fucking war zone.
Yeah,
so,
one of my subscribers he's the one that owns a business. It was actually in Santa Monica that I had several people reach out to me whose businesses were destroyed, which is terrible. I'm just, one of them was in Santa Monica.
So it's like he'd just been doing Uber in Santa Monica that day, so to him it was like nothing. He was like, dude, this is like the quietest part of my night. I'm like, cool, whatever. He didn't fucking care. I mean, worst case, just would have said no, but he didn't care. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, for me, like what was really again, going back, one of the main principles I have is like, one, I want to be there for my fucking battle buddy, especially when they need it, and two, it's like, I just can't stand seeing fucking business owners getting fucking taken advantage of and destroyed when they're not part of the problem at all. They just want to live their fucking lives. Like, I can't stand it when people prey upon the weak and prey upon the defenseless like that. Like, that to me is like, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves. So it's because it's like, that is a crime that doesn't need to happen. Like, there's nothing bringing those two people together into conflict. It is one person deciding to take advantage of another person's property, another person, and in that act cause bodily harm and kill them. So it's like, to me personally, that bothers me a lot. And it bothers me a lot that it happens to the Asian American community, and the Asian American community gets hung out to dry. So we just have to fucking do it ourselves. We have to fucking find ways to defend ourselves, because who the fuck else is going to do it? And it's like, not everyone's going to be lucky to have a fucking detachment of National Guard guys come by at some point today. No, not everyone's going to be that way. Like, it's like he said, some people's businesses got hit and then got fucking annihilated the next day. So it's like, you don't know if you're going to be that business or not. Like, I mean, it's really wild times. And like, ultimately for me, it's like, if this is the America that I hope it is or should be, then when someone innocent like that becomes preyed upon or becomes targeted or something, everyone in the fucking community should be jumping at the bit to help them out. Because here's the thing, if I was not alone, then I would have been fine, probably. But I was by myself. I mean, that's the thing. It's like when you look at the Virginia, when everyone gathered up in Virginia, like last SHOT Show or whatnot, I mean, it's like, whenever there's a bunch of people, usually they walk away fine. But whenever you're by yourself, it's much easier to be targeted and stuff like that. But so obviously I took a risk there, but yeah, I didn't want my buddies to have that.
Yeah. Do you have any sort of like last minute, I guess, things you want to say to the audience? We've kind of cleared up a lot of stuff about what did and didn't happen, your point of view, your motivation that led you to doing it.
So here's not so much we did this thing at work called like conation, and like it's a little bit of psychology and stuff like that. So me, I know some people are complaining that I talk really fast or whatever. To be honest, I wasn't always that way, but so there's different types of people. Different types of people think differently. I'm kind of more on the quick starter, impulsive kind of side. So that obviously it's like that's with anything. That doesn't. It's with. I mean, I'm like a squirrel half the time. It's hard for me to pay attention to shit. So I have to really it's hard to follow through on stuff. So whenever there's like a decision or something that I want to make, like I usually just make it. Like, I mean, I'll think about it, and then I'll just do it. Some people will think about it, and then decide not to do it because they're more of like a fact finder, or they're going to research it more or whatever. Like everyone's kind of psychologically built differently, so I kind of fall into the category where I just quick starter. I just execute and do things, whether it's right and wrong. That's just part of how my psychology works. Everyone's a little different. Some people will sit back and collect information and not do anything. But my advice is just observe. Just if you ever find yourself wanting to do something, just observe a little bit more, listen a little bit more. But at the same time, you don't want to be that guy where when something's really going down, you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And now your friends are getting killed and your friends are getting robbed and your friends are getting fucking looted and shit. That's just as bad. So they're like kind of at both ends of the spectrum, trying to find a balance of both, and being able to know when to act and how to act, and also really being able to know when to collect data and more information, research and stuff. For me, probably could have just waited longer and realized, hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
But things were really starting to head in that direction. We're like, oh, this is getting pretty fucking bad. And a literal entire section of the city is fucking destroyed and on fire right now. So what's next? Don't know what's next.
Yeah. Joe,
you don't know until after the fact. I mean, that's just life in general. Hindsight's a bitch, but you know what? You live, you learn. To me, here's my thing. It's okay to make mistakes, as long as your mistakes aren't made on bad morals and bad principles. Like you're gonna make mistakes in life. You know, it's like as long as you make a mistake, but you're not like trying to hurt somebody or like trying to do something like rob somebody or like something that's like really morally corrupt, you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna learn from those mistakes.
Yeah. I think it's pretty. I think you're. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And ultimately, you have good people around you to support you because they'll tell you who the fuck are your friends are and who the fuck are not. So, I mean, that's just life, man.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, if you have anything last second, if you want to plug your business, you know, something you're working on, project you're a part of, you know, go ahead.
I'm not comfortable putting my business out there right now.
Totally get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I appreciate, you know, individuals like yourself giving the truth, and then, you know, individuals like Greg and, you know, people out there that are willing to risk their lives to, you know, help the community right now. Like in downtown LA, since I know we talked about this, but I just wanted to plug this part a little bit. Since the election, you know, the rate of crime has gone up a lot. I'm seeing on a more daily basis now, different things happening. People getting robbed in the street in broad daylight. And again, like I mentioned it before to you, like it's always the same MO. They roll around in packs. They prey on the weak. I mean, just like last week, you know, that 26-year-old dad, you know, he was struggling for his life. They tried to pull him into their car. I'm sure everyone's seen that video.
The attacks on Asian Americans have been happening more often and more violent, and you know, it's becoming more of a trend lately.
And then that was in broad daylight, around like 2-3 in the afternoon, right across the street from me.
With like several security cameras around.
Several security cameras around. There's security guards on the floor, literally like 15 feet from this guy, and no one can do anything because they got their hands tied behind their backs. You know, the guy's screaming for help. And so, like, again, just kind of minimalizing this, I appreciate individuals that leap into action to save and to help the people that are in need, regardless of, you know, whatever consequences living in California may cause them. You know what I mean? So that's just, you know, I appreciate you guys being out there, you know, vigilantly watching this.
There's like let's see, there's another guy's comment who says veterans don't get special privileges just to show up armed up, whatever. Last time I checked, the fucking Constitution's Second Amendment, it's a fucking right, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Some people interpret that right differently, but if you don't think that every citizen has a right to use their fucking Second Amendment rights, then you're part of the fucking problem.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, guys, I appreciate you guys stopping on. I'm probably going to talk to the chat for another like 10 minutes or so. Greg, this was, you know, long time coming. We've been talking about doing this for a long time now. It was good. I appreciated our comments back and forth with each other in private prior to all this happening, because, you know, you got to kind of, you know, put me in my place. So, you know, because I shared a lot of information that was shared by the media that was wrong. And I totally, you know, that's, you know, I'm glad that we gave you an opportunity to kind of share your point of view on everything, and provide this sort of like background information, because, you know, a lot of people judged without a lot of information. And I think it changes it hearing your perspective on stuff. Or at least, you know, for me, my interpretation of what happened is a lot different when you can weed out the 600 Facebook posts from random people pretending to be XYZ person to pretending to do XYZ thing. And when we know, you know, it's just I think this was a good chat, and I appreciate you guys taking the, you know, 2.5 hours that we've been on today. or a little. I guess maybe we've been on a little bit less than that, but about 2 hours. It's I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it. I literally got to fly out at like 6 in the morning. Fuck, should probably go to bed.
Yeah.
No, yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's like I've been wanting to have this chat for a while. Like,
had to wait for obvious reasons, got to let everything resolve itself.
That's the thing. Everyone wanted me to say something, but I was like, dude, the case isn't over, so why would I say?
Like, it's like when people say don't talk to the police, they also mean don't post intimate details about stuff on social media. I feel like that's also included,
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
But to be honest, it was kind of nice to have a break from social media. I mean, I went to like Tahoe, just check that place out.
Yeah.
Are you up in that area?
I'm in California, about an hour north of San Francisco, in Sonoma County. And California, it's like when you say you live in California, people are like, oh, do you know this guy? I'm like, he lives in LA, which is literally like 2 Oregons away from me. Like, I got to go like 2.5 Washingtons to get to LA. Like, so it's just a little different.
No, yeah, no. I mean, for me, it was just kind of did a little bit of soul searching. To be honest, Tahoe was a lot of fun actually. Went up Tahoe, but then once I got back to working again, like just been working, having a good time, man. I mean, it's like literally, like I said, in the same building, there's one of the best weapons instructors in the world and one of the best gun builders.
Dude, yeah.
Why would I be upset about where I am when my life is better than half these assholes in chat?
Yeah, Travis Haley is who got me into improving my skills back in the day. What is it? Oh, fuck. I can't believe I can't think of the words. Economy of motion. And that phrase stuck with me because, in a lot of sports in high school and stuff, you learn about proper bodily mechanics, and that kind of stuff. And that like nerded out level of like sports science to it. Travis Haley really, in my mind, was one of the first people that opened my eyes up to that side of shooting. So yeah, you get to hang out with Travis Haley and Fuller, and that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, like I said, like I don't really care what half these idiots say because my life's fucking way better than theirs anyway. So it's like whatever.
I gotta stand up for them a second. Some of them might be idiots, but they're my idiots.
Thanks for having me on, man. It was great talking and like.
This is cool, man.
It's like we all got our lives to live, man.
Yeah, and Joe, I'll have you on at another time. The chat is dying to hear more from Joe at some point in the future. I don't know.
Me? Why?
I think they just fixated on you. They're like, ooh, I like Joe. Just.
Oh, really?
Joe's a small guy, man. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for having the giving me the opportunity to be here with you guys. I really appreciated it.
Yeah, hit me up anytime, Joe. Greg, you too, man. We talk all the time. But yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I'm probably gonna hop off, and then I'll probably be on stream just for like a few minutes talking to some chat. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on. This has been super cool. This was kind of like a first for me doing an interview. I've never really done like a live stream with another person on to kind of chat. So this was learning experience. I appreciate you guys putting up with my technical difficulties of not having a camera to talk to you. Because for those of you that are watching the stream right now, it looks like that for them. Not there is no face. So yeah, we'll figure that out in the future. Maybe I'll get a second camera to hook up through that. But yeah, super cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm probably going to hop off the chat right now and then just talk to the stream for a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. And again, guys, make sure you go support Alan's son.
Alan's son, yeah.
That guy needs it, man. That guy needs help right now.
And Greg, if you have any connections that you can maybe talk to, if you want to put them in touch with me, I know it's still a legal situation, so you probably can't say anything, but if there's help that they need, feel free to have them get in touch with me. If you have those connections,
All right, see you guys.
All right, later, guys.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Take it easy, guys. Okay. Camera only. Take off this. All right. Let's, now I'm going to move this. Oh, shit. All right. Still figuring it out, folks. And, okay, so just to let you guys know, everyone in the YouTube chat right now, I'm going to transfer over just to Twitch. So everybody that's in the YouTube chat, I appreciate you guys sticking around. It's had a solid at least 200 viewers this whole time. Pretty fucking cool in my opinion. This is my first time doing an interview. Blast Advocate, I appreciate you. You've been a long-time subscriber. A lot of people in here that I recognize for a long time. Hopefully people went through and clipped some stuff on Twitch. I am going to download this conversation and like this stream and everything so that I can then upload it onto YouTube at a later date, cut down more. So this live stream playback after YouTube is over will be private for a few days probably, and then I will upload it onto YouTube. But for now, I'm going to be on Twitch. So I'm going to end the YouTube stream, and I'm just going to be on Twitch. So right now, you don't need a Twitch account to view it, but just twitch.tv/Reno May. Oh, I misspelled that in the YouTube chat. Can I drop... Reno May, sorry. Just putting the twitch.tv/Reno May. If you just go on Twitch and just type in Reno May, it should show up. But everyone on YouTube, I appreciate it. If you don't convert over to Twitch right now, totally fine, totally get it. I appreciate having you guys. I just don't want to blow my YouTube feed up right now. So I'm going to end the stream on YouTube, continue talking on Twitch. But yeah, at which point... Because the main reason that I want to switch over to Twitch is because I want to be able to handle some guns and talk to you guys about guns. I cannot touch a gun on a YouTube live stream. That's kind of why I'm switching over to Twitch. I will have some Discord invites on the Twitch stream. So if you're on Twitch at the end of the stream, I will throw out a small amount of invites so that people can hop in the Discord. But yeah, I appreciate everyone on YouTube. I'm going to end the stream on there. So yeah, thank you. Boom.